Forever. Dog.
Welcome to the Chop with Latrice and Manila,
where each week we give you the recaps and rundown of our favorite movies.
Who's on top?
And who gets the chop? Manila.
Latrice Royale.
I'm feeling extra glamorous tonight.
Give it everything you got, trying to make it to the top. Never ever gonna stop, even if you get the chop, 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 chop. Girl, you got the chop.
Don't be a bitter bitch. Just make them eat it, honey.
Let's chop it up.
Oh my God, this is so fun. This is our first movie club episode. And we're going to do To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. Now, this movie came out back in 1995. This is like, I was baby Latrice then. I was a whole 3 years old. And it's starring Wesley Snipes, Patrick Swayze, and John Leguizamo. And bitch, this is classic drag, breaking boundaries moment.
Drag these days is now a cultural phenomenon. RuPaul's Drag Race is really spread the drag queenness all over the world right now. But back in the day, there were only a few things you could see on TV or in movies that had drag queens. I mean, one was Bugs Bunny in drag.
Well, always.
The other one was just random men cross-dressing for laughs, right? And the other thing was the Maury Povich show.
It's a man, Maury.
So this is a legendary movie because we had some huge Hollywood actors playing gay men / drag queens. And it's very notable.
Very.
So the plot is there is a local drag queen pageant in New York City. Noxzema Jackson, played by Wesley Snipes, and Vita Boheme, played by Patrick Swayze, win the pageant. They tie, and they win a trip to California to compete in the Drag Queen of America contest. And then one of their fellow contestants, played by John Leguizamo, Chichi Rodriguez, a straight-talking but naive and inexperienced drag queen who they decide to take with them on their road trip. Their drive takes them through some backwoods, some places where drag queens probably aren't used to being, and they run into some people who aren't as acceptive or tolerating of drag queens. They have a close call with the cop. They have a makeover sequence or two, and we see them interact with some small town people. Drag queens bringing a whole bunch of fabulosity to a little small town. It's a really, really fun movie.
Total fun. Did you see when it came out?
Yes, I did. I did
too.
My mother actually brought me to go see this.
Yes. Lies.
I not looking back at my 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 coming out experience.
It wasn't very much coming out.
As if my mother was preparing me.
She was coaxing you out the closet, it's okay, baby. Look at this movie. Yeah. Look at you.
She didn't know it at the time, but I guess me and my mother have some common interests when it comes to getting all glammed up and being much more fabulous than most people, I guess.
I ain't mad at that.
You saw this in the theaters too?
I did. With a group of color guard friends. Of course, we were rowdy and living. And we sat up there and kikied so hard. I was just gagged because these straight men were out queening the queens.
Yes.
They were out queening the queens. And I was like, well, damn, bitch, they got it. They're doing it.
Because Patrick Swayze was a huge star, Dirty Dancing, Ghost. Wesley Snipes, a huge star, Blade, A White Man Can't Jump. I mean, and then John Leguizamo, such a funny comedian. And honestly, it's really crazy because I watched it again. I'm like, yeah, they're really good at acting like they're homosexual men. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well acted, brilliantly written, super relatable.
I felt like was the first time we weren't the joke. It was actually it was a good representation of, what queens go through and who we are. But bitch, ain't nobody up in drag going across country. Like that part.
Yeah. Okay. So the movie opens up with this like kind of like Patrick Swayze and all of his sexiness coming out of the shower. Like he's kind of like putting the towel around his waist, and you kind of see a little bit of like he's not wearing underwear. It's like a little dick print there. And he sits down in front of the mirror, and then he puts the headband down. He's like, ready or not, here comes mama. And then he just queens out. He's got his wrists go limp. You know what I mean? It's like full on. And then we see Wesley Snipes getting up in drag. It's one of my favorite montages ever.
That opening sequence is everything. And the song, honey, that's legendary, baby. All the girls would get naked and do that song, honey. If you weren't, all the trans showgirls, honey, they would be naked doing Body Beautiful, honey. And where
Salt
is
and Pepper,
the body?
right? It's such a good song.
Yes.
It literally is like one of my favorite montages because it is how I feel like every time I like sit down and get in drag, like you sit down, you take a deep breath, and you like have that Alyssa Edwards moment where you're like staring at yourself in the mirror, and you see that shift from like you are transforming right now. It's metamorphosis, and we get that right in the beginning of the movie. So sexy. And I was learning a few tips, like putting on the makeup and stuff like that. Like they really do like have like actual like the process of how you do drag, I think.
Yeah. All the way down to the details of how they put in their breast and lift it up. How we push the meat skin. Up. We pull push the meat up. That is so, like, those little details are the details that makes it relatable and believable. So I was very impressed that they, like, clock that. They had to have some queen on set to be like, no, girl, you got to, pull that titty up, honey. Pull that titty meat up.
My favorite part of this movie is this Drag Queen of the Year pageant scene at Webster Hall in New York City. And it has all these New York City queens cameoing in this, like, legendary. Who did you clock in there?
Don't even shoot me, but I can't believe I never clocked Lady Bunny until today.
It's because her wig is like so much smaller than we're used to.
And she's over in the corner in the cut, and I was like, that Lady Bunny bitch over there in the back. And it certainly was. So I did not clock her until today.
I remember moving to New York City and like all of these queens were like, these are the legendary queens, like when I finally moved to New York City. So there was Sweetie, who was the host. And she was
rest her.
She was a host at Escalita in Times Square. Mm-hmm. And I used to go there and watch the show all the time. Then there was, I misunderstood the drag queen who gave me my first paid gig in New York City as a drag queen. She's in that movie. Yeah. Coco Peru is in there.
Coco Peru.
DeBarge.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Arias. Who else is in there?
Yes. Lady Kateria.
Latrice Dumont. Latrice Dumont is in there. She's actually, I'll get into her a little bit later, but she is one of my favorite drag queens because she does she loves Madonna, and she used to do Madonna whenever I would go to Escalita and watch her. But she's also the drag queen who helped John Leguizamo kind of create the character of Chichi Rodriguez.
Oh.
So when I first met her in New York City, I was like, I feel like I'm talking to the real life Chichi Rodriguez.
Here she is, right here in the flesh.
And of course, we also get the huge cameo of RuPaul herself, who plays the queen from the previous pageant who's giving up her crown, and she comes down from a swing from the ceiling wearing a Confederate flag dress. Her name is appropriately named Rachel Tensions. It doesn't age well watching it.
Baby, when I tell you I did not realize they had so many things in there that my eyebrows were like, what? What? Oh my God, they said that? Yeah, they did. They went there several times, and I forgot. I really
Well,
did.
I mean, like the dynamic between Noxzema Jackson and Vida Boheme throughout the movie, there is like a very like black queen versus white queen
Yep.
storyline throughout there. It does take on some issues that, obviously it's a comedy, but like they do really take on some like the issues, like they really do, like they don't shy away from it. I guess RuPaul's dress, obviously, it's like nowadays it's like no, right?
No, you would never. but
it's a joke, right?
But
and
for them,
like
it's
that's what
the
drag
joke,
does. We
you
make
know?
fun of
And-
stuff, and like we present it in a way that makes you have to think about things. And I mean, as a black gay man dressed in drag, coming down in a Confederate flag with the name
Confederate flag dress.
Rachel Tension.
Rachel Tension. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And she looked gorgeous, the young RuPaul. She was young, honey. She was young. That was young Mama Ru.
I love when they have a tie. And like Noxzema Jackson, a tie?
Girl.
Who said anything about a tie?
Hi. She was not ready, honey. She was not ready. After the tie and all that, and they see little Miss Chi-Chi in the hallway crying, they wind up actually going to the little after party at the restaurant, right? And is that where they find we see a cameo from Robin Williams?
Yes.
He's Mr. John Jacob Jingle Hammerschmidt.
His name is my name too. So cute.
Another one that was so good.
Another
Like,
straight
we got
actor,
some
like
major-
who just like perfectly like like we know that guy that comes like that guy. He always can hook you up at the club, no matter what you do.
Right. Oh, trust. Oh yeah, got the hookup, baby. But the chemistry between Chi-Chi and John Jacob Hammerschmidt, bitch, I was cackling. And they were just going on in the Spanish, honey, and they're looking at them having a moment. But I just was like, they look like they really could like go in the bathroom in any moment and just like have their way with each other, because that was some chemistry, some real chemistry happening.
Like when you're in drag, you always, especially when you're a young drag queen, any attention like from a man is like game on, honey. It's game.
Yeah, you're like, daddy,
yes,
papi,
yes. Especially one that's like basically like, giving out free tickets or like, giving free cars away. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. If he got the hookup, I want to see what else he got to hook up. Yes.
So then there's this like iconic moment where we get the title of the movie. It's where Vida sees in her compact the reflection of a photograph, a signed photograph of Julie Newmar hanging there behind them. Julie Newmar is the first actress who played Catwoman on the original Batman series.
Correct.
And they steal that. They mop that.
Just mop it like a true queen, honey. They see what they like and take it, honey.
Just snatch it off the wall. So like that is a really interesting that's a really interesting moment, because like who came up with the name of this movie? Oh, it's because of this very moment, I guess.
It's because of this moment. This is it. Why not? Let's just talk about this fact that they're in drag the entire movie. Bitch, like, what queen is going to get in a car and be in drag driving across country in full geesh? Like, who do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, especially a convertible where their like wigs are like flying. Their lashes are going like the first episode of season 2 Drag Race. Flapping in the wind.
Baby, ain't no way in hell. But it still made it for fun. Like, it would have been different if it wouldn't have been the same movie if they were not.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of part of the fantasy, I guess, So So I get it
It's
in that
full
way.
fantasy.
But yeah, that's like the one thing that's different. Unlike Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, where they only get in drag for their shows and they're traveling through they're traveling cross country
through the
in
desert.
a bus across,
Right.
but they're out of drag. This one, like, we kind of like have to like kind of just like have the suspension of disbelief.
Go on
Just
the
go
journey.
on the journey.
Go on the journey.
And have it. It's more fun that way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It wouldn't have been the same.
I mean, no drag queen would ever sit in a corset and full lashed in a wig and drive like days across the country.
Mm-mm.
But
No, ma'am.
it does seem like a fun idea.
I mean, it's a challenge.
Have you ever
Not
Have
one
you
that
ever
I would
traveled
take
in
on,
drag?
but no, one time.
like on an airplane or something?
One time on an
What?
airplane, I did. I was going to Brazil or somewhere, but I had an early flight. I was filming. You were there. I was filming my Here's to Life video that morning, remember? And I went directly and got on the plane in face.
Oh, so right after your shoot,
Yeah.
you went on a plane?
I went on the plane and got it and went because when I got off the plane, I had to go into the gig.
What?
Yeah. It was for a MAC Cosmetics gig in Brazil when we were opening up doing the Art of the Lip. I remember it
Wow.
like it was yesterday.
Wait, so
Yeah.
it's like from
So,
Los
yeah.
Angeles to Brazil in full geesh.
Yes. In full geesh. Well,
Face.
face.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
which is still
enough of
was
like
still
like
that's
people are going to be
enough.
staring at you in the airplane.
Correct.
Did you peel off the lashes
That
at
part.
least?
Peel off the lashes, had on some
Okay.
sunglasses, but she was still contoured, and you look very suspect going through the security, girl. Just saying.
But luckily for you, like the queens in the movie, were you like at least like traveling with a bunch of like ladies basketball players?
Not at all. Not at all. Oh my God. Why don't we get to these hoes' road trip adventures right after this short break?
We're back!
Ooh.
And we are talking about To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar from 1995. Yes!
It was a good year.
So besides the queens like nearly escaping a very scary moment where they're getting pulled over by a cop, right?
Right.
Scary moment, very like I was watching it and I was like, oh God, this is like really, this makes me nervous.
Oh my God. Could you imagine being chased by a cop, like, and you're in full drag? Like,
I mean, I remember when my first year doing drag, I got pulled over by a police officer for not fully stopping at a stoplight.
California roll, huh?
It was like, I felt very fishy because like I was like coming back from the club. I wasn't drinking, so that was a good thing, but like shit, I was just like, oh God, I don't want to be dealing with this. So
It's just the part of handing over the ID and not matching with what they see. This is
Yes.
always the part. You're like,
Exactly.
how do you explain this? This is not sexual. I promise. That's all I care about. It's not sexual. So, but yeah, they have this run-in with the cop. Along the way, Chi-Chi is learning the 4 steps needed to go from a boy in a dress to a full-fledged drag queen. And they're making this shit up as they go along.
Aren't we all though? Aren't we all?
I mean, that's what drag, we make this shit as we go, honey.
Yes.
Trial and error. And so the fact that they have this poor little child thinking that they have all these steps and it's all pre-planned and she is just making it up as she goes. I'm like, okay. That's how you
but
do
like
it.
Chi-Chi was like not having it. Like after, like she's like, I'm in a car with a cop killer. Like I'm getting the fuck out of here. And then Vita's like, if you leave, I'm gonna strip you from all your princess points that you've earned. And Chi-Chi's like, wait, what? Oh no, don't do that. Like she's taking this really seriously. But I love the moment where Chi-Chi's like, I'm gonna hitch us a ride. I'm like the Latino Marilyn Monroe. I got more legs than a bucket of chicken.
So many good
She wiggles
lines.
her way down the side of the street. She pulls up her skirt a little bit and she gets them a ride, and they get brought over to the town of Snydersville.
Snyders. Oh, Snydersville. There's more actors that are just like shockingly wonderful up in here.
I love Stockard Channing. Yeah, there are so many different actors here. There's Blythe Danner, Gwyneth Paltrow's mother. She plays the one that's gossiping about all the other people in the town.
She's so good too. She's giving all the tea, honey, just like Small Town, honey. She's telling all the tea.
And there's even like that one, like, you know, that trashy guy who's kind of like sexually harassing all the girls. That's the actor from Monster-in-Law, who plays the love interest of Jennifer Lopez. I forget his name, but he's in there too.
Oh,
He's
right.
very young.
That is him.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. You see?
But I just love the fact that they're in this like really like small town. In the small town, they have no idea like what to make of these people.
No.
You know?
No.
And then these queens they're just like redecorating. They're giving makeovers to people. I mean, I guess that's kind of really what like people really think of us drag queens now. We're just like these like magical fairies that come in and like, you know, like Shangela and Eureka and Bob the Drag Queen. And
they are alive right now to Wong Foo, bitch. They're here, honey.
Like RuPaul's Drag You. It's like making everyone's lives better, you know?
It's true. Fairy dust. We all have it. Fairy dust. Little fairy dust. It's telling of like how accepting they were, even though they were completely out of their comfort zone, you know, these little town folks, you know, they were like, okay, well, they're fun and they seem real nice.
Yeah.
So, you know, they were there for the ride.
Yeah, and also, like, you think that because, like, there's such a small town, they don't usually probably get lots of visitors. So, like, this was like a welcome, like, party. It's like the circus came into town and they had something to finally do that day. You know, they're like, oh, we're doing makeovers. We're going, we'd like turn the local store into like a little whatever. The cafe turned, like, or the little restaurant turns into a cafe. I mean, they like turned their regular like their pie, you know, eating festival into like a big soiree. I think it's really cute. And my favorite part is when Chichi Rodriguez falls in love with the guy.
Dangerous. You can't be trying to be pulling straight trade at the club, girl. You better tell that man what the tea is down there, honey, before he gets a surprise, honey. I was like,
Bobby
Woo.
Ray. I mean, I wonder though, Latrice, because like at the end of the movie, we kind of all find out that they all knew they were drag queens, or they kind of all found out that they were drag queens at the end.
Correct.
Did Bobby Ray know that Chichi Rodriguez was a man in a dress? A little Latin boy in a dress?
And, you know, they got real close, is all I'm saying.
Right.
They was real intimate, and I just know that, you know, in a normal situation, in that truck, some things would have gone down, or someone would have gone down.
Yeah, I think my theory is that like he knew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, finally, there were some homos that finally came into town.
In the back of his mind, he knew, like, you know, he wasn't going to say nothing. But, you know, I think that was part of the fantasy, too. Like, there was like does he know? Maybe he doesn't. How can he not know? You know, that kind of thing was going on. So.
Well, yeah, I think, well, they do a really good job in the whole movie of, like, everyone just kind of, like, not knowing. You know what I mean? Obviously, like, they're, like, 7 feet tall. They have big-ass hands. They got Adam's apples.
Right. But you know what was really cute moment was when Noxzema connected with the little silent lady, Clara. And she finally spoke. And they're, you know, when they start talking about classics and all the wonderful girls from yesterday, honey, she perked right up, honey. Lena Horne and
she kind of had this like little backstory of like, oh, she was happy with her husband and they loved movies and they had the movie theater. And then after her husband died, she kind of just
Went
stopped
mute.
talking and she
Yeah.
became a mute. And it wasn't until the drag queens came into town and got them excited about life. And, we got to play dress up and, be the fantasy that we all watch in movies. And so I love that connection because it's like this giant black drag queen and this little
Right.
old lady.
Right.
She's running around and she's like trying to escape. She's like, "Oh, did you just do a Yui?" I also like Vita's connection with Carol Ann, who's played by Stalker Channing, because we're noticing that she's getting beat up by the husband.
Yeah. Yeah. Vita ain't having it.
I feel bad because obviously, she's just used to it. She's just kind of accepted that this is the way life is in her little small town. She gets beat up by her husband and whatever, and then it's nice to have a new point of view to remind you no, you're a strong woman. You're a fierce woman.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that scene. But it always makes me kind of oh my gosh, this is so uncomfortable because that scene where he's like, "There's still too much spice in this chili."
Oh my God. Girl, it was triggering for me too, because I come from that background, and I was very, very young when it was all going down in my household, but I remember those times and those moments, and it's horrible and heartbreaking to watch your mom, who you see as a hero, be broken by this horrible man. But baby, honey, leave it up to a queen to teach you how to channel your inner diva, honey, because when enough is enough, enough is enough.
Well, yeah, the queens, they actually kind of have a little tension and a fight, which, prompts Vita to kind of confront the fact that, Chi-Chi says you are a drag queen, not because you just couldn't make it as a man.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Part.
And it really kind of plays what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a drag queen. And then that kind of has this dramatic scene where Vita goes and she's like, "You know what? Yeah, I am a drag queen. I am a woman, but I'm also a man. And I'm not going to stand for this shit." And she bursts to the door,
Baby.
beats up Virgil.
She goes, Vita works out.
Vita works out a lot.
Yes, honey. She works out, honey. And I was so glad because she stepped in and intervened, even though, that's a tight spot to be in because, in essence, it's not your business,
Yes.
But at the same time, how can you stand by and watch and listen to this go down when you know that someone's being abused? You have to check your moral compass and say, what would I do in that situation?
And stand up for what's right.
And stand up for what's right, regardless of whether you think it's your business or not. So
the other part I love about this movie is the witch hunt of Sheriff Dullard.
Bitch.
On the hunt for the
He
gay
has
men.
this
Places where
Cinderella
homos
slipper.
are,
Yeah.
ballet classes, flower shops.
Who said that, girl? Who told you that that's where the gays hang out?
By the flight attendant lounges. I think it's, I hang out in all those places, I think.
Well, only because you're traveling and you're fabulous. That's different.
But I do like when he's sitting down and he's at the bar by himself and he's talking. He's got the shoe sitting there and he's like, men touching each other's chest hair, their baritone voices grunting, holding each other in strong masculine arms.
I was like, set the scene, baby. Let's roll the tape.
I think this is my first introduction as a young person to oh yeah, there is the homophobia is kind of guided by someone's own self-hatred of who they really are.
Yeah.
And this is this guy, obviously he wants to be touched and held by a man. And he's now made it his entire mission to find Find the drag queen who got away.
The Cinderella. The Cinderfella. All right, we'll talk more about Miss Rodriguez and Vita and Noxzema right after this break.
We're back with two Wong Foo. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. The queens are getting ready for the Red and Wild festival, the Pie Festival.
Girl, the way they came across this name, the theme, was just so funny. They're all sitting there at the restaurant and like, we have a festival and a strawberry festival, and we all make pies, and then we all bring them to the center of the town, and then we eat the pies. I was like, that is
And
not
then
a
we
party,
go home.
girl. And then we go home. I was like,
This party needs a theme.
theme,
Well,
honey.
strawberries are red. Strawberries are wild. That's your theme, red and wild.
Look, it just takes a queen just to figure it out. That's simple, honey. You had it right here the whole time. Red and wild.
Fully decorated the whole town. And then everyone just has full red looks just waiting in their closets. These queens, there was a scene where like Chi-Chi was like leaving the car and she had like one backpack and one plastic trash bag of drag.
Correct.
But this entire movie, they've had like new outfits like every other scene.
Well, you got to remember they had went to on the top of that theater and found all those old clothes.
Oh, okay.
So they had all these fashions from back in the 60s, the 70s, all of it. And, Noxzema went hog crazy up there with the fashion. So
No, this is mine. It's fringe.
it's fringe. This is mine. No.
No. I as a drag queen, I like totally know that when you're like, ooh, I like that. They're like, no, that's mine. I claim that. Dibs.
Dibs. Yeah, so they had access. They had all these clothes that they just acquired from the top of the old theater from back in the day. All those costumes and shit.
They really like decorated the whole town. They had balloons. They had banners. They had costume dress codes for everyone. It was such a fun scene. They even had a matching dress. Vita had a matching red dress to give to Stalker Jen. Just in case they had to do a makeover challenge, right?
You never know, Just in case they want to see a strong family resemblance. Oh my God. So they are having a good time at the social. And then here comes Miss Sheriff Dullard, honey. Miss Girl coming up to break up the party, honey.
And he's all like screaming with his megaphone. Don't hide these perverts. Don't protect them. That's when we have like Vita. She's like, I got to do something, and then she like leaves, and then we see like her come out in the red dress with the big red
with
veil.
The veil. Mm-hmm.
And then we reveals that it's actually Carol Ann in her strawberry social dress.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, that's mine. That's my shoe.
I'm a drag queen. And then everybody.
Fully painted.
Fully painted.
Clara comes up. She's like, no, that's my shoe. Give me my shoe back.
But my favorite was when the big black man came up and said, I'm a drag queen. Like, get in the trees.
Right here. He holds his titty.
Like, get in the trees.
I love that.
Yeah.
Sheriff Dullard's gagged. At the very end, he's like, can you believe those people? And the founding fathers didn't want this when they wrote the Constitution. And then this guy walking his dog past, he's like, I don't know, but I do say the founding fathers had some fabulous wigs.
Some fabulous wigs, bitch.
And they're like, oh yeah, that was kind of like the social norm for men to wear fabulous wigs back in the day.
So there you have it.
There you have it.
So yeah, they run Miss old Sheriff Dollard, out of town along with Virgil.
Yes, bye-bye, Virgil.
And then they celebrate and they dancing on the picnic tables, honey. What's in the fun? That's is it Aretha Franklin at the end?
I think so. There's a lot of
think it
Aretha
is.
Franklin songs
Alright,
on the soundtrack. Mhm.
Yes, I live. You gotta free yourself. Yes. I love it.
There was this really nice moment though. Like we finally found out that like basically the whole town like has now figured out that they're drag queens. And they all come to the protection and they stand up for the drag queens who've kind of like opened up their minds to new experiences and, like made everything more fabulous. And so they protect them. I love this scene. I love when they all stand up to them.
When Carol Ann tells Vita that she clocked her the first night.
Oh yeah. Adam's
first
apple.
night she clocked, she said Adam's apple. And she's like, women don't have Adam apples. And I saw you found yourself an Adam apple. You got yourself an Adam apple. But the thing of it is, it doesn't see a man, doesn't see a woman, just sees this beautiful soul and creature. And that's humanity. And it was such a beautiful story to see these small town people really just embrace the souls and spirit of these queens that they had no clue who they were or where they, what it was about. So
she said, Carol Ann says, I love you, Vita. And there's this like really touching moment because earlier in the movie, they all kind of pass by Vita's hometown and they see her mother comes out and she like turns away. And Vita says, I've been waiting all my life to hear someone say I love you to that name. And it's this really like beautiful moment. It actually kind of makes me think that maybe Vita is a little bit trans, a little bit, because she considers herself, Vita, and it's kind of like a through line for the movie that she doesn't have someone that loves her. Because like Chi-Chi even says like your parents don't love you, you don't have a man. And this is like a big moment because the friendship that Vita has with Carol Ann is like really solidified in this moment where Carol Ann's like, I don't see you as a man or a woman. I see you as an angel and I love you. And she gets that final like thing like, oh my gosh, I am loved.
It's confirmation. And acceptance. Yeah. And that's all we are looking for ultimately. And it was just really beautiful to watch that moment and for them to connect and see Carol Ann turn into a badass. She will ultimately fix the car.
Yeah.
Because she kicked Virgil on to the curb, honey. She wound up fixing the car herself. So,
strong, independent woman. She's got 3 daughters. I live.
Yeah, I love the turnaround. And ultimately, obviously, even the boys, even down to the little thug boys, they got some respect on that name, and started treating the queens like ladies as they should, I love
that they come in, they have like they're all like nicely groomed and they're like, good afternoon. Noxzema. They're like everyone kind of learned something. I also like Blythe Danner's character, she kind of was like in love with the guy that owned the restaurant. There's like that
the black guy. Oh, and they're riding in a truck and they hit that bump.
And they kind of fall in love and they end up dancing together. And like that little moment is a little special moment because like, like this small town, you expect them to
taboo.
Kind of. Yeah.
It's taboo. Like you don't have no interracial going on in no little small town in the middle of America like that. That was really a big moment right there. Another breaking boundaries. So
yes,
come on, to Wong Foo, honey, bitch.
I love this movie, and then at the very end, they drive away in the sunset. Like we get to see like they finally make it to Hollywood. This little like button that they put on the very end.
Yes,
and we see Candace Cain is there looking gorgeous.
Yes.
And then we see all these drag queens like dressed in like these gowns that are like inspired by different flowers in the garden. And then we have Chi-Chi Rodriguez come out and she is dressed in this white lily-inspired gown and she gets crowned the winner of the pageant by none other than Julie Newmar herself.
I mean, come on. Icing on the cake. I don't know who painted her, Miss Chi-Chi at the end, but that bitch was done, honey.
Oh my God.
Ooh, she looked so good.
Oh my gosh. Yes, Chi Rodriguez's
Oh.
look at the final end has been such a huge inspiration for me as a drag queen.
It has, Vanilla.
Right?
I see it.
It's whenever I wear that little short, the short, like the short little shake and go
Yeah.
raven wig, I always feel like Chi Rodriguez. She's got the little tendrils there, and she's just, like oozing sensuality. She like slowly like saunters through the grass.
Oh my
I love
goodness.
that moment.
So good. Yeah. Everybody looks so good. That bitch. That's how you do it though. You may not win the battle, but you win the war, honey. Come on
Yes.
through. That's the story of my life. So for real. So yay, congratulations to Chi Rodriguez. What is she? Miss America?
She is
Miss Drag Queen America of America. There she go.
This movie is so good. I love all of the costumes. I love that it has its very campy moments. It takes on some really serious subjects. It's just a fun movie, and it's like I wish there were more movies like it. To be honest.
Yeah, totally. But and I felt like it was like as far as it was not ahead of its time so much as it was right on time. You know what I mean? It was right on time, I think, because we were at the height of seeing us portrayed on TV as the joke, as the clown, as the on Maury Povich. You having these people come on there talking about guess if it's a man or not. That's not, that's not acceptable nowadays. They would never have that show like that again. But we are here now. We are elevated. We have learned. We have become social justice warriors.
Well, let's do our tops and our chops of the movie, Latrice.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of this movie? Your top.
My top moment of the movie. Oh my God, there's so many. Jesus, how dare you? Okay. I know. It's like, okay, when Noxzema and Clara were connecting and she was chasing little Clara around the she was chasing her around. You pull the Yui on me. That was really cute.
I got your picture here.
That was my favorite moment.
Yeah. My top is John Leguizamo's performance.
Oh God, forget about it.
Like John Leguizamo, so good. I love his Puerto Rican accent in the whole movie.
So good.
No, I don't think so. No, puta, I don't think so. The one-liners from John Leguizamo are hilarious and iconic. John Leguizamo killed it. And I was so happy, when I moved to New York City and I met Laritza Dumont and found out that Laritza was the person that worked with John Leguizamo, and John Leguizamo credits her as the inspiration for the he even was reading the stories of Princess Laritza, which is
that's the little shout out to
the
her.
shout out. She gets featured a lot.
That's it.
What about your chop?
I'm chopping Vita's mama. Fuck her. Fuck her. Bye. Bye, bitch. Bye.
Well, at the end of the movie, Vita said, you know what? I'm going to go over to that Tudor imitation style house. I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to say, I don't need your acceptance, but I will. What does she say? I forget what she says, but she's going to she's going to
tell her off, basically.
She's going to basically go in there and she is accepted who she is. She no longer feels any kind of shame about that situation. And she's just going to live her life as she lives her life. No apologies. And I love that.
I love it.
My chop is this one scene where I have no idea. I mean, it's just there for camp factor. But it's the brick house scene where they're driving in the car, voguing, and the people are like,
and not knowing which way to go. Oh, the train.
On the train, and the people are hanging out the side of the train. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, no one can hear the music. I mean, you're just kind of like, you have to kind of like just go with it. You know, like,
with
obviously,
the
like,
fantasy.
Yeah. But I'm like, what is this scene? And they're like riding this like old 1940s, like, you know, train, but they're all like, I don't know what the scene is about. It's a cute little scene, but that's like the one thing I'm like, I have no idea what that, because it looks like a bunch of businessmen commuting, but like they're not in the city. So like, why are they commuting? Why are they in a train that looks like it's 100 years old?
Like one of those trains at Disney.
Yeah.
The old time railroad, girl.
And they have like these old bald men like with their comb overs flapping in the wind, like badly voguing outside of the window. Like what is going on?
Yeah, that's one of those moments you just gotta go along for the ride, honey. For real. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks so much for listening to The Chop, and we will see you on Thursday for our audio-only episode.
Next Tuesday, we're going to be watching another gayish film, and we want you guys all to watch it with us. So your homework is to watch Boys in the Band, which is now available on Netflix. So go watch it so we can all talk about it next Tuesday.
We'll talk about the reading, darling. We'll talk about the reading. Thank you all so much for listening to The Chop.
Make sure you subscribe to our show. You can rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. We have new episodes every Tuesday and on Thursdays.
And you can send us an email, and we might just read it on next week's episode. Email us at latricemanila@gmail.com.
And you can follow us at Latrice Royale and at Manila Luzon.
And we'll see you next week to find out
who gets the chop. The Chop is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. All names, pictures, and media clips are registered trademarks and or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders.
Forever Dog.
The Chop is produced by Forever Dog and Moguls of Media.
Mom.
Hosted by Latrice Royale and Manila Luzon.
Produced by Big Dipper.
Mixed and mastered by Will Pitts.
Executive produced by Willem Belli.
Alaska Thunderfuck.
Brett Boehm.
Joe Cilio.
And Alex Ramsey.
Our theme song is The Chop by Manila Luzon and Latrice Royale.